Okay, look, remember we had talked about relationships and age difference? We had one of our programs that dealt with the age difference in relationships. And remember one of the things you had mentioned that a 60-year-old man had married an 18-year-old young lady. But today, a very interesting, bizarre story came out in the news headline. In the international news, a Saudi man, 90 years of age, married a 15-year-old girl. He paid something like $17,000 for her. That's would have been the person who would have arranged a marriage and who would have made contact with this young girl. And she's a girl, 15 years, for him. I don't know if this individual would have contacted a family. The family would have been poor or what. And, but however, it caused an outrage on the internet, Twitter, and so on, where people were calling, for this, they even called for him to be charged and so on. And not only what I found out though, this is not an uncommon situation. The age difference will be a bit, probably be is what's stranger, but in terms of older men marrying these younger girls and paying somebody to arrange these marriage for them, it's not an unusual, because a situation came up where a young lady had to lock her newlywed husband in a room, and then she escaped, leave and run away, went back, and he demanded his money back, from the person who would have arranged this marriage for him. He didn't get to sleep with his newlywed wife. She run away before such a thing took place. And this is clearly not an adult. This is a young girl. And one would have to, first thing came to my mind when I heard about this is, what is the mental state of this young lady? And not just the mental capacity. What is her level of intelligence? Was she capable of making an informed decision? Because I can tell you, some 15-year-olds, when you hear them speak, you will believe that it's 21 or so. They are so intelligent and they're so well aware of what they're doing. They're quite capable of making informed decisions and know well what they're aware about and so on. And I wonder if this 15-year-old had a say, whether she was aware of what she was doing, if she do it, with any kind of willingness or understanding of her situation. Certainly, I think in any Caribbean island, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but that individual would have been charged, and the individual who would have arranged such a marriage would have certainly been charged. This was a 90-year-old man, the 15-year-old girl. I wonder, how does a 90-year-old man hold a 15-year-old girl to make love? How does a 15-year-old girl make love to a 90-year-old man?
You want my comment?
Of course I do.
Good. Now, who is to say that this was a marriage dependent on lovemaking? And that it was not a marriage where she was looking for a father figure, don't mind his age, and he was looking for some young daughter to take care of him. Who said that it was anything at all to do with erotic behavior? So when you are allowing your mind to ramble as to wonder how they could make love to each other, who said that love, erotic love, was any part of the arrangement? You see, we can't just let our opinions run with us. You have to find out where. Now, you said about the 15-year-old, there would probably the police would step in and whatnot, something to that effect, because it could not happen. How do you know that the parents were not consulted and that they agreed? Are they still living together peacefully, or are they having quarrels?
Well, I think there's an outcry on the situation. Now,
by whom?
By the public. There's an outcry.
By the public. Who happened to be married? The public or the couple?
The couple have to be married.
Good. Are the couple dissatisfied in any way?
John, it may be. It's quite possible, yes. It could be a marriage of convenience. He just wanted somebody to take care of him and all of that. Why couldn't he hire a maid? He can pay $17,000 for her. Why can't he have a maid?
My question is this, George. Are the couple complaining, or is it the public protesting?
I don't know.
Oh, thank you very much. Case dismissed.
No, the case can't dismiss. Because we don't have no evidence.
Well, therefore the case dismissed. There can be no case without evidence.
There's no evidence. There's no indication that the couple, the young girl probably don't even have a voice.
I am not here to what she may not do. Give me the case and let us talk about it. You haven't found any evidence of anything? Case dismissed.
Couple? No. It can't be this. You can say that. You can say that. You see, this would have come out. The outcry about this would have been based on the history of what goes on, the pattern of what takes place. Because I've mentioned an other situation that came up where a young lady had locked her husband out and run away. And this person...
The same girl we're talking about? The same couple?
No.
But therefore the case
dismissed. No, the case can't dismiss, John. What I'm trying to tell you, John, these things in these cultures that I've mentioned take place without the young girl having a say. And she has to subject herself, the history and the pattern. The chances are that this young girl will have go into this willingly. And I'm talking about a girl, not even her parents here, willingly, and be happy in this situation is 1 in 10,000.
George, I am not here to discuss what must be the case. If you don't know the case dismissed. As far as I'm concerned, the case is dismissed. Because although she may be, wait a minute, although she is living in a society where you have no other cases to so, this could be the very one that proves the success. And since you know nothing of this case, don't let us discuss it.
Well, you can say that.
Bring another case that turned out badly and let us examine why it turned out badly. Because we know it turned out badly. But this one, since this one is going, we have nothing to go on.
John, this marriage has just recently taken place, okay? And whether it go badly or it go good or what happened, you're talking about a 15-year-old who may not even get 10 years out of that man. He may take her for his wife and also a wife and slave. And I said, wait, the chances are this being an agreed or comfortable situation is very, 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 very minuscule. It's highly improbable.
Well, let it be. Therefore, I will not discuss that case. Because I have nothing to go on. I can ask you a million questions. You got to tell me I don't know. Why are we discussing it?
Okay. The case is but we are talking here about a 90-year-old man married a 15-year-old. It don't have to be particular. We are talking about a situation, a circumstances where a 90-year-old man is marrying a 15-year-old girl. And
right.
situations that are
my question is this. Are these two unhappy, or are they upsetting society?
Okay. Well, you just stated you want to talk about it. Let's talk about this in a general sense and move away from the individuals. Okay? What I want to do is move away from the individuals. We are talking circumstances where these things, these kinds of culture, where these things takes place.
Yeah.
And that in itself is part of child abuse. It is child abuse. This young teenager needs to be going out with her friends. This is the age where she probably knows how to look at boys and whatever. And have she little fantasies and whatever. You take the individual and you put them into a relationship with a 90-year-old man who probably going to be bedridden with Pampers in a while. And then he has, because he probably would have been influential and rich, and you have her as a maid or a slave, and when she comes to him, she has to answer my lord, and all this sort of thing. It is child abuse.
But you are being judgmental here, because you are measuring it by your yardstick. How do you know that the girl was not happy with it, and that the man was not himself happy with the situation? I agree that it will be statutory rape, but abuse is a, yes.
I think we almost reached it, but I think you just missed what I would have just said. I wanted to move away from the individual side. However, we reached a point of wrapping up, but one other thing I wanted to touch on quickly before we go, and this is something that we touched on earlier in the year, is that when we talk about the church losing its moral integrity and its double standard, recently the Church of England has approved men who are in same-sex relationships can become bishops. Now, this is the very same church a few years ago stated quite clearly, living in sin is not living in sin anymore, meaning that people who in cohabital relationships, who are not married, can't be living together. You know, that is wrong with that. You know, so I just thought I would have touched on we did look at the standards of the church, how the church has been now coming, where they've been conformed to the standards of the world, of the wider society, than the church setting standards for society to live by. And because this trend, as we see more and more where same-sex relationships are being made legal and being accepted in societies, and it seems like the church is bowing to the pressure of the society now by accepting these things that was unimaginable, unthinkable today, you know. And my own opinion in this is that the church should set the standards for the world, not the world set the standards for the church.
Okay, I understand the point you're making, and it can be well taken. Well, here's my stance on the whole thing about the church and this homosexuality and whatnot. As far as I'm concerned, and I want you to listen carefully so that you will not misquote me. As far as I am concerned, I see homosexuality as being unnatural. I don't delve into whether it is immoral or sinful. I cannot prove it is sinful or that it isn't sinful. I see it as being unnatural. So if being natural is being according to the mind of God, then being unnatural would obviously have to be not in accordance with God's will. Because according to Playfair's axiom, two things that are equal to the same thing happen to be equal to one another. And if nature is God and God is nature, if you violate nature, you violate God. But I do not speak of homosexuality as being sinful. I speak of it as being unnatural.
Well, I quite understand you, but I know we come in time and we have to wrap up. But you know, I bring up in terms of the same sex. But what I wanted was more zeroed on is the standards that the church has adopted. It's not basically just homosexual. and how the church itself is homosexual is an issue that I use, but I didn't want to just limit it to the same-sex or homosexual thing. I want to look at all the other issues and where the church is, the direction in which the church was going tonight, but time wouldn't allow us to that. But I thought I should just mention that. I just, I was just looking at the church in itself, how the church, the direction in which the church is going today. Maybe we could deal with this topic later on.
Yeah.
Sometime in this new year to come. Dwell into it a little more, So
yeah.
It's winding up time, and let me just give you a chance to give a few closing remarks and just come to a close.
Okay, fine business. Yeah. Well, I can say that we are finishing on an agreeable note. That is, when it comes to the church and these things that are intruding and invading the church now, I see it that the church is totally neglecting that mandate in the scriptures, which says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. The reverse seems to be that the church is taking the lead from the world and heading in the direction of the world under the guise that we are trying to attract them. And we are coming down to their level so as to get them with us, rather than we maintain a standard and be influential enough to get them to come to us. That is how I see that. So you and I think we are ending on a very amicable mode where that is concerned. But the other things, when it comes to mental illness, I claim to have some expertise there, having worked in that field of work for almost 40 years. And I know that laity, the general public, they think with their hearts. They don't think with their brains, because you just see something, and as long as it runs right angle to you, then it is wrong and you condemn it. But if you got into understanding, you would understand why the black widow spider mates with her mate and kills him after sex play. To us, that would look like, oh, how insensitive, how cruel. But if you get to understand the reason why, then you may have a different attitude toward it. Same thing happens with mental illness. There are quite a few people who think that the manifestation of mental illness is a demonic situation. The devil inflicts something on people and make you behave that way. I see it differently, because I understand that mental illness, like any other illness in the body, follows a pattern. And some sort of pathogenic organism takes place that makes us sick. And there are certain things in the nervous system that go amok and makes us sick as well. Mental ill health can even come as a result of physical illness. So I have a different outlook on what people call madness. I don't even use that word. It is mental disorder, a mental disorder. Something is happening with your mind and something disturbs it, and your behavior is commensurate with the ill that is there. If you understand that, you would not treat these mental patients with the stigma that seems perennial. But other than that, I think we understood what was going on. And like you said, this was a general discussion tonight. And we would look forward to when the real momentum of things pick up. Let me take this opportunity now to wish all of our listeners here, there, and everywhere else the very best for the year 2013. And we sincerely hope to be coming to you with a few ideas, the way of life, and getting your response either by your calls or your email. We want to thank you very much. In the meantime, keep loving each other. John, Barbados.
All right, thank you, John. Have a good week. But once again, I want to wish all the listeners a very happy New Year. And once again, looking forward to interacting with you for the New Year. But tonight was just a general discussion. We just wanted to touch base with you and just look back at how we would have spent the last 12 months and how 2012 would have passed off, you know. So we look forward to next week when we have a very interesting discussion for you. And John, in terms of mental illness, you may have in terms of you may have that time in working with mental illness. You know you have, but I want to tell you I experience a lot of situations in terms of mental illness, and still that doesn't make me an expert. I'm not qualified, you know, but I do understand. I think I could clearly understand, in my opinion, when someone is aware of what they're doing, even though they may have a mental history. And I want to tell you, I wish we could go on with this discussion, because I know about a situation where a person had a mental history, but they committed a grievous bodily harm on someone, and the prosecution took the case alongside that at the particular time the person was aware of what they were doing. You know, so nevertheless, I want to say thank you for your input in the discussion tonight. And so until next week when we meet again, we're going to have a very interesting program for you. So to all listeners, have a good week. And this is Tell It Like It Is for 2013, January 7th.